This is 80/20 extruded aluminum. These are 2x4 by 6 feet long. I bought these, oh boy, I want to say 15 or so years ago. I bought the 2x4 by 6s, and I bought 8 of these 2x2s for the legs. It's going to be a CNC table, router / plasma table when I'm done with it. I got all the hardware for it, these little brackets. Not sure how well you can see that. This project is on the list to do. The thing that was putting me off the most with this was the linear rails. I was actually just going to engineer some myself because they were so expensive. But the price has been coming down on them, so I can get a 5-foot linear rail now with the blocks on them for, I don't know, about $100. So I think I'm going to do that. I was going to make it 5x5. I wanted to be able to take a 4x8 sheet of steel. So what I figured was I'd make it 5x5 so you can put it mostly halfway in, cut it out, turn it around, and do the other half. Because I'm running out of room, unfortunately. I've got so many tools here that my room is limited. But another project. Okay, though I admit it does not look like it right now, but this stainless steel keg is going to be the foundation of my foundry. You see the propane tank next to it. I bought one of those torch things from Harbor Freight. Don't mind the pool toys. The pool's out that way. Some of the stuff I got for the foundry, I'm still waiting on a fiberglass blanket. There's some kind of a high temperature stuff coming that I'm going to line the keg with. I still have to cut the keg down a little bit and build a top for it. Let me show you the stone I have also. And those are the stones. Some of the stones, the fire brick. Now that I got my Logan working, I've got to make some repairs that were long overdue. This has a stripped gear. This is a phenolic gear. I believe it's phenolic. It's definitely not metal. It's some kind of a fiber. It's a 72 tooth, 16 diametral pitch gear. And when you come to the, come on, focus you, threading chart here, there we go. Unfortunately, 72 tooth doesn't have many places in this chart, and I didn't get any other gear with this lathe, so I'm gonna have to make a 36 tooth and a new 72 tooth gear for this lathe. All the other gears look okay, obviously except for the one I've already told you about, but again, that's in the works. So I need to order the proper cutters. I don't have the cutters for this yet, but this is also going to be a future project. Hopefully, as soon as I get those cutters, I'm going to make it, because I really am interested to see how this lathe cuts the threads. Okay. Now, this, as you know, is the Harbor Freight lathe I have converted to CNC. It works amazing. I love it, but it has some inherent flaws that I want to fix, because this lathe can be so much more than it is. And now that I have the Logan going, once I have the threading capability, this thing is going to get a complete overhaul. So let me show you some of what I'm planning on doing here. some of the downsides to this lathe. Now, mind you, this is a mini lathe. I mean, this is not a big engine lathe here. But the bed width is about 3 1/4 inches. Now, that is not very beefy. Also, the way they hold this onto this bed, it's got to be one of the cheesiest things I've ever seen in my life. So, you know, that said, that's going to get a complete change as well. Also, this thing here isn't very big. You know, you're looking at 6 inches here, just over 3 1/2, 3 3/3 maybe wide on this part. And again, we're gonna change that as well. What I'm going to do is this plate steel is 1 inch thick. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but it's about 1 inch thick. It's 6 inches wide, and though this isn't the right piece, this is just here for demonstration. The one I'm using is going to be 30 inches long. It will cover the width of this whole bed, so this head can sit on top of it. What I'm going to use is linear rails on the plate to basically try to make this a little more rigid. This angle right here, it's 45. I'm going to cut that out using one of my cutters. What I'll do is I'll bring it over to here. I'll throw it on this mill. This will cut, I believe, I don't know how long it'll do, but it's a pretty big piece. I can easily cut a 30-inch wide piece on this mill. So I'm going to cut the slot for that alignment, whatever you call it, channel, whatever it is, and I'm going to put it in here. And I'm also going to screw down this plate to this bed. That way everything's bolted rigid, everything's lined up appropriately. I will move this ball screw to the middle part because this is also a flawed design. I just put the ball screw where the lead screw was, obviously, and it works fine. But again, what happens is it has a tendency to want to push or pull and kick. Now that's not really happening, but it's putting extra pressure that doesn't need to be put onto the part, because I can just as simply, when I upgrade this, I can move this to the center, and having it in the center, basically like this is, should make it not only more rigid but more accurate. This will also get something like this as well, where you're going to have a 6-inch wide piece over here too. So travel wise, I'll probably gain a little bit of travel, you know, not a lot more. But what I'm hoping to accomplish, other than the obvious rigidity issues, is also I'd like to make this plate that the tool holder is going to mount on, I'd like to be able to have it on both sides if I wish. So, you know, if I want to run a program, let's say I can have multiple cutters. I can have some on this side and I can have some on this side, you know, depending what I want to do. And I think that will add some benefit to the lathe down the road, depending what I'm doing. Now, as far as the head goes, I'm really going to try to leave everything as is. I don't really think there's a problem with these heads. If I have to, I'll replace the bearings, or I will, you know, I will upgrade the head and do, you know, something beefier out of something like this stuff, but I don't want to. I'm going to try to avoid that at all costs. I really think this head, and I mean, if I have to use some, you know, tapered roller bearings, I will. But again, I got a long way to go before I even consider worrying about that. And as far as the motor goes, the one that's in there, I hate it. I absolutely hate that thing. You know, for turning, it works fine, but if you go to do any drilling, the thing stalls, and then it just shuts off because it overheats. It drives me absolutely crazy. And again, I mean, I know I got the Logan now, but I'm going to put one of these in here, gear it down. That way it's obviously not running so fast. But this runs at 2,500 RPM. This runs at 8,000. So I just got to reduce it approximately 4 to 1. And this motor will obviously be plenty enough for this lathe. And it's DC. So it's reversible, and speed control will be easy of it. So that's about it, guys. Those are the future projects I'm looking at. I don't know when I'm going to be starting this stuff. I'm taking a break from the EDM for a little while. I've got several other things going on that I've got to start. And unfortunately, the EDM, though it's working, I'm running into several issues that, you know, I could probably use a little bit of advice and some help with in the future. So I think I might wait for some help on that before I, you know, keep going with that one. But I've got other stuff I need to do. So anyway, just a quick update, and we'll catch you guys later.